Hello, it's your girl, author Valerie McAllister, and I'm here to talk to you today about who wants to write a book. I am an author of two self published books, and I'm here to give you the steps to writing your own book. Now, I know a lot of you have some great things within you. You have some thoughts, some feelings, some emotions, and you've always wanted to write a book. You just didn't know how. Well, I'm here to help you with that. The first thing I want to tell you is write your book. Books are your words that live inside of you. And the wonderful thing about books is that you can write about just about anything that you like. You can be as creative as you like. You can say whatever you want because it's a book. It's part of what's inside of you. So the first thing to do is to believe you can do it. Believe you can write that book. And then start putting your words together. Some of you might have a lot of different books, things all over the place. You might have notebooks here, notebooks there. You might have things that you've written on napkins. You might have things that you recorded, but you've never put it together. So step 2 is that if you have begun writing, organize yourself. Find all those little pieces of paper, all those notebooks, all those napkins, and put them together and begin to organize them. And you don't have to organize them necessarily by every word following the other, but in some kind of chronological order where it makes sense. And then, step 3, pull up your Word document and begin to dump all of your thoughts and feelings on paper. And you're almost on your way. So if you don't have your book, your thoughts, your emotions written somewhere, then they're coming directly from you, from your heart, from your soul to your paper. And some people do write long-handed, so if that's more comfortable for you, then write in a notebook. But if you're ready for your sort of electronic jump, then start with a Word document. And just write. Don't worry about punctuation. Don't worry about spelling. Don't worry about everything making sense. Just write. Just dump your emotions. Now, what I encourage you to do is to give yourself a timeline. It might be once a week, twice a week, 3 times a week. You can start with the number of words that you type. You might say, I'm going to type 500 words in one sitting. Or you might say, I'm going to type 3 paragraphs. But make it plain and give yourself a goal. I'm not going to tell you what your goal is. You know what your time looks like. You know what you can do. So maybe it's once a week, twice a week, 3 times a week. But don't overload yourself, because sometimes when you're forced and pressured to write, the words don't come out as easy, which is why step 4 is so important. And that's focus. Whatever you need to do to center yourself. Maybe it's take a walk, take a hot bath, listen to some music, maybe some jazz. Maybe it's just sitting quietly, meditating, praying. Maybe it's just staring at a picture. But whatever you need to do to get your focus, get your focus. Because you want to be clear when you write, so that you are connecting very, very purely from everything that's in your heart. All right, you're almost on your way. So you're dumping. You're just dumping. You're just writing. And your timeline might say that in 30 days, you retract, which means you go back and you look at all the things you've dumped, right? And then you begin to put it in order. You might say, I really would like this to be towards the back, this paragraph here. You might say, I think this would make more sense if it was in the beginning. Another good thing to know is characters guide and lead you. You fall in love with your characters. I know I fell in love with mine. It makes it easy to write when you are really building on characters, because then you know what you want them to do. You might have a character that you say, I want that character to get married, or to go to France, or to be a scientist, or to be a monster, or to be a child, or an adult, or a a mystery person. So once you have your characters in your mind, you can just daydream and write all kinds of adventures for those characters. Absolutely, one of the things that you want to do is decide whether you're going to write fiction or nonfiction. So nonfiction are things that are based on facts. You have to do your research on nonfiction. These are things like articles, periodicals, published papers, history, information. Your fiction is when you get into so many different genres of writing. You can write urban fiction. I write urban fiction. You can write mystery. You can write horror, erotica, comedy. Just depends on the genre that you feel like you fit in. So now, what do we have? We have gathered all of our information because we've decided that we will publish this book. We will be an author. So we've gathered all our information if we've started at some point. And if we haven't, then we begin to put things on paper. We're either doing it long-handedly in a notebook or we're in a Word document and we're typing. We've established our timeline. We're going to write 3 times a week or once a week or, I don't know, once every 2 weeks. We've established how much we're going to write. 1 paragraph, 2 paragraph, 1,000 words, 2,000 words. And we're on our way. And we've gone back and organized our thoughts. So now what? We continue to organize our thoughts as we're writing. And we have 1 chapter, 2 chapters, 3 chapters, and so on. And we continue to write and build our characters. And now we're coming to the finish line. Now, do not get concerned if you have what they call writer's block. That's when no matter how hard you try and you've taken time to relax and you focus, you still can't seem to find the words. I say when that happens, get up and walk away. There's no rush. It's all up to you when you want to complete your project. So you don't have to force yourself to do it. If the words don't come, the words don't come. Maybe at 3 o'clock in the morning one night, all of a sudden you'll get this epiphany and you'll just want to write. And that's okay too. So now you are almost finished your first completed manuscript. And then what is the next thing that you do? You must find a good editor. Shop around because people charge different prices. Some people charge by the word. Some people charge bulk. Some prices are a little higher than others depending on what they're going to do and also depending on the length of your manuscript. So definitely do your research and get the right price that's comfortable for you. You also want to ask your editor if they will format your book. Sometimes editors just do editing for grammatical errors, and sometimes your editor will do edits for content. You want to make sure that you and your editor work together very closely, because if your editor is a content editor, you want to make sure that as she is editing or he is editing the book, that it stays true to what your intent was, that they're not changing language that you didn't want changed. Because sometimes when we're writing, we write in a certain slang maybe. And they might not be grammatically correct, but that's how we want it to come across. So we might say something like, yeah, she ain't said nothing. And your editor might correct that and say, the word isn't. But you have to communicate with your editor that I meant it to be ain't, because that is the style that I'm writing in. You also want to make sure that you have an editor that you communicate with consistently. You might have a timeline. So if your timeline is that you need your editor to complete the editing in 2 months, you don't want an editor that's going to take 2 years. Another reason to be in good communication with your editor. Editors are one of the most important people in the book. Aside from the author, that's the person that can make or break your book. Because who wants to see a book that has a lot of grammatical errors in it? Or you missed this or you missed that. Once you have all your editing done, then you want to format your book. There's different formats. Don't forget your table of content. Don't forget your biography, something about the author. Don't forget some people have dedication pages and some people don't. But you want to have a format. The format is important because that's how you lay it down to your publishing company. However you're going to publish it for print, you want it to be formatted correctly. And then think about your cover. There are covers that you can get. You can buy covers. You can buy covers from a website called Favor. You can have someone create your cover. You can also get your cover from Amazon.com. It depends on what you want to do. So guess what, people? You have sat down, put all your thoughts on paper. You have dumped it. You have organized it. You have edited it. You have found the perfect cover. What's left to do? Publish that baby. Publish that baby. But before you publish the book, the most important thing to remember is to have it copywritten. For an individual, that's one person on the book. Couldn't cost you any more than $50. You want to make sure that you Google the Copyright Office, the United States Copyright Office. Why is this critical? Because that's your work. You want anybody else copying your work or saying that they wrote it first, copyright it before you show it to anyone, except your editor. With your editor, you can have a disclaimer or a contract that says that they won't share any information from the book. Most editors will do that anyway, and they're used to that. But if you're having your book edited, say by your sister who's a school teacher, you still want to make sure that you have something in writing that they can't share it with anyone else. So, it's time to self-publish. Or you can send it out to different agencies. There's a lot of publishing companies. Publishing is not like it used to be. You want to be very careful to research publishing companies because people charge you a lot of prices for things that you're not aware of. When I wrote my first book, I had a lot of offers, thousands of dollars to publish my book. And some of them didn't even do the editing. So definitely do your research. Or you can contact me at generationalwords.com, publishing company, and we will definitely give you a good deal, and you will be a published author. So, those are the steps. But remember, you've published your book, and now the work begins. Marketing. That's the most critical part of publishing your book. Writing is a simple part. Now it's time to get down to works. For more information, please contact me at Valerie McAllister at gmail.com. Yes, that's Valerie McAllister at gmail.com. And say, hey Val, I'm ready to write my book. And I got you.